Yeah, so like if your
The
spine's a little bit
spine.
curved or whatever, it can actually be difficult. We had difficulties, so whatever. Okay, I'm just getting this going. Okay, here we are. I'm just
You're on
getting
the
on. I'm
YouTube.
just getting this going, and we're gonna start. Okay, we're gonna go to Pesachim. There we are. Okay, and now we go to share screen and Pesachim. Morning, Michal.
Morning, Rabbi. Morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Robert.
Good morning.
Two Roberts here.
Two Roberts.
Morning,
So that's
Robert.
a third of the Roberts of the
Yeah,
show.
we have 6 Bobs in our show. We are the show of 6 Bobs.
We're looking to get a few more Bobs.
Yeah, we get a
We can have a
7th.
meeting.
Maybe Mashiach will come. Okay. So,
Pesachim.
anyone want to give money to Sfaria? Okay.
Where's Leon? I invited him.
Well, it doesn't mean he's going to come.
It'd be nice if he came.
Okay, so now we're going to learn about how to speak nicely about bad news. Rav bar Achuha de Rabbi Chia uvarachse. So Rav was the son of Rabbi Chia's half brother and the son of Rabbi Chia's half sister, because Rav's father married his own stepsister. Basically, a half brother and a half sister married each other, but there's no blood relationship. You understand how that works, right? If Ruvain has a child with Rachel, yeah, and then right, and then and then Ruvain also has a child with I'm sorry. Ruvain has a child with Rachel, who in a previous marriage had a child with Shimon. Okay?
Who's that? Ruvain's brother?
Yeah, no, so the way it works is so it's a stepsister. In other words, Ruvain brings a child from a previous marriage into a relationship, and his wife also has a child by previous marriage. So Ruvain and Rachel are married to each other, yeah? But Ruvain has a child by Leah, and Rachel has a child by Shimon. So there's no blood relationship. You get it?
Yeah.
2 stepchildren with no blood relationship because they have a different father and a different mother.
You know what
So
they
they
say
married
about
each
that?
other. What?
Nice is nice, but incest is best.
Yeah, but it's not incest because there's no relationship.
They can marry.
Right. Yes. If Rachel had a child by Shimon, and Reuven had a child by Leah, and then Reuven and Rachel marry, there's no relationship because each child is from 2 completely separate parents. You get it? It's step brothers.
Yeah, that
So that's what happened here. So the Rav was.
However, they are part of the same family, and they can call each other brother and sister.
Right, but according to Jewish law, step family is not family. There's no halachic relationship.
That happened in our family, where my niece-in-law married my nephew.
But there was no blood relationship.
Well, let's see. It's my yeah. There was no. I don't know. There was no blood relationship.
Right, so it's the same thing. It's the same thing here. So
Yeah.
Ruvain is so Rachel is married to Ruvain, and is married to Shimon, and Ruvain is married to Leah, and then they both get divorced, right? Or they get widowed. So Rachel brings her child with Shimon into the marriage, and Reuven brings his child by Leah into the marriage. So now they're married, but their stepchildren have no relationship, and that's the story here. Okay, so Rav was close to Rabbi Chia because he was married to his to basically his step aunt. So Rav Baruch Hu, the Rabbi Chia Baruch said, "Kisolek Lohasam." When Rav came to Israel, Omerle Ivu Kayam, is your father Ivu alive? Omerle said to him, Ima Kayemes, is your sister Ima alive? Omerle Ima Kayemes, is Ima then alive? And he said to him, Is Avayu Kayam, is he then alive? So he said it in a question mark because he didn't want to say the bad news explicitly. So Rabbi Chia said to his attendant, remove my shoes and carry my garments after me to the bathhouse. The Gemara comments, you learn from Rabbi Chia's instruction 3 halacha. A mourner is not allowed to wear leather shoes. And we learn from it that for distant tidings, mourning is practiced only one day. If you receive tidings of the death of a relative more than 30 days after he died, he doesn't mourn for 7 days. So he could have a bath at the end of the day. And learn from regard to halachas of mourning, the legal starter, part of the day is like an entire day. So from the actions of a sage, this is why this is Aggadot, you can learn important halachot. So let us say, nowadays it's not so common, but let's say you only hear that a relative died 30 days after they died. Someone you have to mourn for, like a sister or a brother. So if it's more than 30 days that you hear about it, so, or someone's in the hospital, you don't want to aggravate them. So when they get better, you tell them. So you have to mourn for 1 day, which means you take off your shoes and you sit Shiva. And as soon as you sat Shiva for a little while, you can end the Shiva. Because where it's a Shmua Rechok, a distant tiding, after 30 days, you only have to sit Shiva for a little while.
I remember that in Samarkand, when my father found out that his father died in the Holocaust, I remember him sitting Shiva, but maybe just 1 day. I don't.
Look, some people sat Shiva for longer because they wanted to, but the halach is you only have to sit for part of the day.
Yeah, I don't remember if he said.
But I'm saying, you know, with that kind of thing, you know, people might want to do the whole Shiva. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm looking for 5A over here.
Soften.
Yep, 5A.
All right, let me get that.
Okay, so it says the word B'Yom HaRishon by 3 festivals. So these 3 times Rishon is written by festivals. And he taught that because the Jewish people keep the festivals, that it says Rishon the first 3 times, they get to 3 things that are called first. Lahachar Zaro Shel Esav, to destroy the descendants of Esav, to build the Beit HaMikdash in the name of Mashiach. To destroy the seed of Esav, as it's written, Vayetz HaRishon Admoni Kulo Kader Asher. He's called Rishon. To build the Beit HaMikdash, as it says, Kisei Kavod Moro Mariko Makom Mikdashenu. The throne of God's glory lifted up from the beginning of time, the place of our Beit HaMikdash. And the name
Rabbi,
of Mashiach, as it says, Rishon L'Tzion Hine Hina. A Rishon to Zion I will be give. And by the way, that's why the Sephardic chief rabbi is called the Rishon L'Tzion. Okay.
Rabbi, there is a little problem here with.
I'm shocked that you found a problem, Joe, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Trying to control yourself.
I'm surprised myself because you said we should be active destroying the seeds of Esav. Now, this is I think they're talking during the time of Rome, because by then we connected for some reason Esav with Rome.
But we discussed why that happened.
But originally, there are the best one is when the Jews are leaving Egypt and they're coming and starting wars with Amalek. The Torah specifically says, don't start a war with Esau because he is your relative.
Right. So there are two answers to that. One is that at the end of days, for Olu Moshe and Bartzion Lishbot Esar Esav, that Esav will be punished. However, in the Ein Yaakov version, not the version here, it says Zaro Shel Amalek, because Amalek is the bad Esav. So it says Lazaro Shel Amalek. You know that when
Amalek is okay. Amalek is
so
okay.
there's one version of the Gemara as Amalek, but if you look at the Az Yasher, the Song of the Sea, it says that ultimately Esav will be judged. Now you should know an interesting thing that the Gerer Rebbe, the one who came to Israel right before the war.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1917, when the Germans occupied Poland, so the Russian army had been very hard on the Jews.
1939.
No, you're not listening to me. When he was still living in Poland in 1917, when the Imperial German Army defeated the Tsarist Russia and occupied Poland. So the Tsarist army had been very hard on the Jews. And the Germans were very, very polite. They saw the Jews as useful. And they could talk to them because they spoke Yiddish.
Well, that was
one of his Hasidim was praising the Germans to him. And he turned to him and said, mark my words, you will see the Germans are Amalek in 1917. Anyways.
That was a good prediction.
Yeah, and I discovered there was another big rebbe like that, and who said that, but he died before the war, and both of them tried to get certificates to get all their Hasidim to move to Israel, but the British wouldn't give. But the Gerer Rebbe, and as a matter of fact, let me tell you something about the Gerer Rebbe in the land of Israel, while we're on the topic. In 1937 was the last gathering of Aggadot Yisrael, which is sort of the right-wing Orthodox political organization, or in Katowice, the last Knessia Gedola before the war.
I know.
In 1937, Dr. Breuer was there, and my grandfather was then hanging around with Dr. Breuer. He was from Hungary, but Dr. Breuer had come from Switzerland, I think, and the Peel Commission had then given out an idea, that very small parts of Israel should be set aside for the Jews. And they wanted the various Jewish organizations to approve it. So they were discussing it. And my grandfather was there when the Gerer Rebbe got up. He wasn't a very tall man, but he got up to his full height. And he said that Jews cannot approve such a thing because no one gives anyone the right to Sedison Eretz Yisrael Karoyim, to tear the land of Israel into little pieces.
Rabbi, you see, that's a perfect example. Instead of taking advantage of the offer,
there was no offer of immigration. There was only an offer to give the Jews in Israel small parts of Israel.
Yeah, that was just enough for Ben
No,
Gurion.
it wouldn't, because they wouldn't have been able to let Jews in anyways. And they would have just been exposed and vulnerable to Arab attack. No, the Peel Commission was a bad idea and a wrong idea and shouldn't have been accepted.
No, but there was another one in 20 that was...
Yeah, in 1920, the British made a very big offer, and it wasn't the Gerer Rebbe and Aguda who opposed it. Jabotinsky said to take it. Who opposed it? Your friends Ben Gurion and Weizmann, the secular Zionists. They're the ones who opposed it. They said they weren't ready.
Oh, that was true. They were not ready. Exactly.
Well, you know what? They should have taken it anyways. They were offered the whole thing in 1921.
I know. I agree. They should have.
Okay, well, that's water under the bridge. It's 100 years ago. So let's move on. Right now we have
Exactly.
it. Let's keep it. Okay.
You learn from history.
One hopes
Some
we learn
people
from
never learn.
this. Okay, let's go back to the Gemara. See, now we have to skip a little bit. We have to go to 7b. Can you find 7b? I'm going to get to 7b.
Yeah, I will. Oh, that's how you get to 7B. Yeah, I know. I have to remember how you do this. 7B.
There's not much to do, Joe.
Okay, stop arguing, everyone.
That's a very good. That's a very good tool.
It is.
That's like a crisp.
Okay, so we said that people who
7B you're going to?
the middle of
Got it.
7b.
Yeah.
1 second. Sorry.
70,000.
Mipnei Sha-
70,000 by
She'or.
Purim.
What
It
kind
may
of a
be
name
8a.
is She'or?
It may be
It's
8a.
8A?
1 minute. Hold on.
A She'or.
Hold on. I need to find it. Give me a sec. Because I make it big, then it's hard to find things.
I'm on 8A.
You're looking for something specific.
Yeah, I'm looking for a piece of Aggadot.
Oh.
These are all the laws of.
Which one are you looking for,
Of
Rabbi?
or.
I'll get there.
The light of the sun?
No. Well, give me a minute. No, hold on. So I want to see what happened over here. It's 8A. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you said 8A.
Yeah, but I lost it. That's all. I didn't see it in the book. Okay, we're going to go all the way down. Too close to the bottom. Okay. So we said here that shluchei mitzvah einam nizokin, that those who are engaged in a mitzvah are not harmed. So the question was, so we're discussing putting your hand into a hole. So in those days, holes developed between, in the wall. The wall was made of stones. It was mortar. And you get holes, and people used to store things in the hole. So it says that you don't have to put your hand into a hole because one, there may be a snake or scorpion there, and if you're looking with a candle, your non-Jewish neighbor who lives on the other side of the hole might think you're trying to cast a spell on him and get angry, and therefore it's dangerous. So as the Gemara didn't Rebbe Lazar say, Shluchei mitzvah nizakin, those on a path to perform a mitzvah are not susceptible to harm through the process of performing the mitzvah. And says the Gemara, where a damage is likely, it's different. In other words, if you say, I'm about to go on some, to visit the sick, and I'm worried about a car accident, so we say, Shlucha mitzvah nizakin. But if there's a huge blizzard, that's different. And the same thing is that, if you cross a bridge to go do a mitzvah, that's fine. If the bridge is a rickety footbridge and about to collapse, we don't say. So anytime that danger is likely, that there might be a scorpion in the hole and so on, we don't say. In other words, being an emissary for a mitzvah, being on the way to a mitzvah protects you from statistically ordinary dangers, but not from statistically likely dangers. Shenem, as we see, that King, as you know, Hashem was unhappy with King Saul, and he sent David to anoint one of the sons of Yishai, Jesse, who turned out to be David. So Shmuel says, how can I go? Shaul will hear and kill me. And Hashem says, take a sacrifice and disguise it, say you've come to bring a sacrifice. In other words, what are we saying here? No, what are we saying?
That it's okay to take a chance.
No, we're saying that he has to disguise himself because since it's very likely Shaul will kill him, right? Since it's very likely Shaul will kill him, he can't rely on a miracle, and he has to pretend he's going to bring a sacrifice for some other reason. So even when God himself issued a command, there's a concern with regards to common dangers. Wow. So therefore, that a mitzvah protects you is only true where there isn't a likely danger. So boy, Minei Meirav. So now we're going to have a very interesting discussion about what constitutes normal risk. So normal risk, we say a mitzvah protects you from, but not likely risk. So Tani B'nei Beirav D'Dei B'Vogo, those students. Beirav doesn't mean necessarily Rav students. It means students that lived in a field. Ma'ol L'meisei Kadma V'Chasheicha L'Veirav. Can they come before dawn and after dusk to learn in yeshiva? Or should they be worried about highwaymen? Amar lahu neisu alev al tzavaret. Let them come, and the responsibility for their danger is on my neck. What about returning home? He says, I don't know if it's possible to rely on the merit of the mitzvah. In other words, robbers were small risk. So Rav says, look, it's a small risk. You're allowed to take it for a mitzvah. Itmar Rabbi Lezer says that those on a path to perform a mitzvah are not harmed, not when they go and not when they come. And where do we see this? We learned in the Brisa. Isi ben Yehuda said, the Torah says that if you're going to go up to the pilgrimage festivals, so the question is, all the men are going up for the pilgrimage festival, leaving the land unprotected. So it teaches us no man shall covet your land when you go up to Hashem for the 3 regalim, the 3 pilgrimage festivals. This teaches your cow will graze in the meadow and no harm will come to it. Your chickens will eat in the garbage dump and no chulda, no marten or mink will attack it, and so on. So if these animals typically harmed by other animals are not harmed due to the protection provided by the mitzvah, people who are typically are not harmed by all the more so won't be harmed. Okay.
I'm surprised.
From this we see that normal low risk a mitzvah protects you from, but not a high risk. Okay. One more piece. We need to move on.
Rabbi, I'm surprised that chickens were made kosher because it's one of the dirtiest birds. Today, when you raise them in under control, but when they were running around, chickens will eat anything.
True.
So,
but you know what?
We fell in love
dirty
with
is
chicken.
not non-kosher.
What's that?
Dirt isn't treif.
Dirt
is not treif, so they're dirty birds. So what?
No, I don't mean dirt. They didn't eat dirt. They eat what do you call it?
Bugs.
Bugs, and if they find what do you call it? That you go to the bathroom, whatever, they'll eat anything. Oh my God, that's a dirty bird. I've seen them around.
That's why you shouldn't eat the dark meat, Joe.
Yeah.
Doesn't really make a difference.
Actually, it's the tastiest part of the chicken.
That is the tastiest part, right?
You know what's good if you prepare it properly? The pupiks, they make a good pie if you prepare them properly.
I love the pupik.
Yeah. No, but today, actually, it's an advantage. They raise them by the thousands. They're all under control. But
it's a rachmanis on the chickens.
Yeah, I know. So now
they're all shoved together. They don't get to run around.
So now we have people that say free range.
Free range, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Omer Rabbi Yaakov, Omer Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yaakov said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, page 25a. We're taking a big skip. L'chol mitrapim. Chutz matzei asherah. One may heal oneself with anything except for the wood of an Asherah tree. If you have an Asherah is a tree that is worshipped as an idol. So if you have wood from an Asherah tree that is medicinal, it has some kind of medicinal quality, you're not allowed to heal yourself from it.
What's in English an Asherah?
Asherah means a cultic tree.
Oh,
In other words, it's a tree that was worshipped.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Chidame, how is this? If you say, like the Greeks had certain cultic groves that were holy and they worshipped.
Right.
If you're going to say that this is a sakana, that the person's in danger, even the Asherah wood you should be allowed to use. In other words, even though there's a prohibition against having benefit from idol worship, if someone's life is in danger, it's only idol worship you're not allowed to do. But using the tree that was worshipped may be permissible if it can save a person's life. And if there's no danger, all the prohibitions in the Torah may not be used, that you're not allowed to derive benefit from. So, for example, if a preparation made of milk and meat can't be used on a sore that is not dangerous, a gravy made of milk and meat that could be used as an ointment on a sore, you're not allowed to benefit and use it for an ointment if the sore is not endangering your life.
You can use it if it's endangering your life.
Yes.
Of course, if your life is in danger, answers the Gemara, La'olam de'ika sakana, even if there's a danger, and even so, with the Asherah tree, no. Because we learned, Rebbe Lezer says, B'chol nafshcha serva in Shema, with all your heart and with all your soul. If it says with all your might, why does it say with all your soul? Because some people, their body is more important to them than their property. It says with all your soul. Some people love their money more than their own bodies. Therefore, it says with all your might, which means your possessions.
Rabbi, about these ointments you just mentioned, they need a hechsher?
No, but it's a special law with milk and meat. You're not allowed to derive benefit from milk and meat cooked together. It's a special halacha.
Well, okay. But what if it was?
Then you can't use it unless your life is in danger.
So that means there is a hechsher on it?
No, because most ointments are not made with milk and meat. If it's made from chazer fat, it's fine. You can use an ointment made from pig fat, no problem. Milk and meat is a special rule. You're not allowed to derive benefit from it.
Oh,
and the Gemara is here discussing things that you're not allowed to derive benefit from.
Oh, so milk and meat is a special.
Right. Milk and meat cooked together.
It's worse than chazer.
Yes, correct. Well, yes, with regards to having benefit from, yes.
You get the chazer heart valve.
So now we get into a whole halachic discussion, but the point over here was that you can heal with anything except for idol worship. But there's a whole discussion in the commentaries what constitutes idol worship, as to what type of Asherah tree and so on. But that's halacha, so we're not going there. The main point of this piece of Aggadot is this:
here were circumstances in which a person must be prepared to die rather than be healed with a prohibitive substance.
Right, if it involves idol worship. Though the halacha is more complicated. But the point over here is to tell you some people, their body is more beloved to them than his property. Therefore, it says with all your soul. Some people love their property more than their body, and therefore it says with all your might. Now, I want to say that generally speaking, the halacha is that to save your life with idolatry means that if someone says, I'm going to cut your head off unless you worship this idol, so then you have to allow yourself to be killed, like Hannah and her 7 sons, with the Hanukkah story. Or for that matter, like we saw during the Crusades, when Jews were given the choice of converting to Christianity or dying, most of them chose death, because that's what you have to do. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think the Hannah story is a very controversial story.
No, it isn't. Everyone agrees she was a heroine and did the right thing. There is no one who disagrees, Joe. It's not controversial, unless you want to start a controversy now after 2,500 years.
She sacrificed 7 young children.
Yeah, that's the halacha.
She
Just
has
like
no
in
right to sacrifice young children.
yes, just like in York, in York when they put the Jews in Clifford's Tower
I know.
and said that they were going to kill all the men and women and take the children and raise them as Christians. They killed their own kids, and that's the right thing to do. That's halacha. We have two worlds in one life, you know. And if we die al Kiddush Hashem, there's still another life. Jews are commanded to give their life rather than worship idols. Yes, that's the halacha. And that's why Judaism survived all the persecutions.
Well,
because
how is that different from conversions?
What do you mean?
Under threat of life, conversions.
You're not allowed to Christianity.
The Rambam himself sent
about Islam. The Rambam specifically makes a distinction between Islam and Christianity. Islam is not idol worship for a Jew. Christianity is. That's the distinction. So Islam, you don't have to. For a Jew to accept the Trinity is idol worship. For a Jew to accept Muhammad as a prophet is not idol worship. That's the difference.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be very popular if we tell the Christians that they're idol worshippers.
No, so there's a whole discussion that it could be. The Ramah seems to hold that for a non-Jew, Christianity is not idol worship, but for a Jew it is.
Well, that's true. But we cannot advertise it.
No, I have this priest, I have this minister I study with. We've discussed this extensively.
And what does he say to that?
Well, he doesn't agree, but, hey, we don't have to agree about everything. The point is he understands where we're coming from. Because for a Jew, a belief in the Trinity is idol worship. Non-Jews don't have such a high level of monotheism. They're not required to hold such a high level of monotheism as we are.
Amazing. It was spread.
But the fact is that during the Crusades, and that's one of the reasons that it stopped, after a while when they saw that Jews would give their lives rather than convert, they stopped trying to force them to convert. That's what happened. That's why after about 1500 or so, there were massacres and so on, but they stopped trying to force the Jews to convert.
But Rabbi, if a non-Jew does that, can he be considered a Noahide?
If what?
If he's believing all that stuff, I mean, he won't be considered a righteous Noahide. He's not really doing what he should be doing, is he?
Well, he wouldn't be considered from the righteous of the nations of the world if he believes things, certain things. That's a whole discussion as to whether it merely makes them not in other words, someone who believes these things but keeps the 7 Noahide laws, are they still considered a Noahide? This is actually a big debate. It's not so simple. Because, according to Maimonides, a Noahide isn't allowed to believe anything other than what is found in the Torah. But according to others, if a Noahide is not an idol worshiper, then he's not transgressing idol worship. And therefore, conceivably, according to a lot of other opinions, a Noahide who believes in Christianity and so on might be able to be a Noahide. I think the Meiri holds this. It's a big debate. It's a big and long debate in Jewish law. But of course, we're not here to study Jewish law, and we've gone a little bit over. And I wish everyone a truly wonderful day. And God willing, whoever wants to come, we'll see you for lunch.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.